So yes. No, I'm on ESPBA, but it's my Apple iPhone. Well, yeah, you're on ESPBA. And yours, you don't have to go in as authenticated every so often. Well, I am.
Just like it's time, I guess.
You have to authenticate.
We don't have to sign it. Okay.
Mine will last a week or two.
No,
Yeah.
you're signing is your present
I can.
for here.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. Access to town. Oh, that would drive me crazy. I don't do that.
What we do.
It's my cup. What's your superpower? Cindy.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the Hancock Town Council February meeting to order. Debbie, could you take the roll, please?
Sure.
Councilmember Figgy,
Present.
Councilmember Grubb,
Present.
Councilmember Holdren,
Present.
Councilmember Marino,
Present.
Councilmember Knock,
Here.
Councilmember Oswald, and Mayor Foskey.
Present.
Okay, you have a form.
Thank you. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If anybody wants to sign up to speak at the public comments, please sign the roster back there. Thank you. Can you please also turn off your cell phones? All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Go ahead.
I'd like to include the Onancock Main Street grant match request that we presented to town council in January, along with the discussion of a plaque in remembrance of Russell Jones, our former mayor.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. And I'll put them in at the appropriate time. They're both come under council action. Okay.
Also, a note on the wayfinding. In light of what Matt received from VDOT just in the last week, we need to reconvene the committee.
Okay.
So I don't know if the council wants to discuss or if we want to let the committee review first.
Well, if council has specific comments about it, can they email them to you and Matt? Yeah, if that way it would save us time talking about it at open meeting. Okay, thank you. So we're going to strike that from the discussion.
And one other, since the school is doing its annual report, I don't have a separate report to give in that section 9.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from January 27th, regular council meeting? Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion on
Comment?
this, comments? Yeah.
I sent several things in that Debbie indicated were included, but they are not reflected in the packet.
Well, the packet went out before the packet was already out.
Okay, because I sent the reply the same day that we received the minutes. So, okay.
Is there anything of substantial?
We don't get. I included the council. It was
Yeah. So,
a couple of spellings and
Okay.
one possible word swap.
okay.
swap.
No, nothing's changing anything. Okay. Okay. All right. We have a motion on the floor and properly seconded. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes are accepted. Okay. Public hearing, we have none scheduled. Public presentation, historic and Hancock School.
Evening. Can you hear me?
No.
Is it on?
Good evening, Mayor Foskey, Town Council members, Mr. Spuck, and Ms. Caton. I'm Carrie Baird, Friends of Anacog School President. I wanted to start off by thanking you on Town Council who took the time to come to our school to learn more about what we do there. We really appreciate your time. Per our lease with the town, we're required to give an annual report to the town for the prior year. You have the complete report in front of you, along with our strategic plan and the financials referred to in the annual report. And for the public, this report will also be posted on our website shortly. In the interest of time, I will just highlight some of the main points of the annual report. Friends of Anacog School remains committed to establishing the historic Anacog School and the 14 grounds as a vital, vibrant, and accessible community and cultural center to benefit the town of Anacog, our residents, and citizens of the entire Eastern Shore. This annual report summarizes some of the major initiatives and accomplishments of the organization during 2024. Excuse me. 2024 marked the 17th year of the FOS lease with the town of Anacog. All of the benchmarks have been met as required by the lease. FOS has cared for and maintained the facility in a condition that has far exceeded the condition that it was on the date of the lease. In fact, well over $670,000 has gone towards maintenance, upkeep, and improvements to the facility since 2007. Our strategic plan is attached to the report, and you can note that there are check marks under the completed goals, which are many. The Board of Directors continue to focus on this strategic plan, and the plan guides our continuing efforts to improve the building and open spaces. General interior building maintenance and repairs to the studios and common spaces included continuing upgrades to ensure the safety, the energy efficiency, and appearance, condition, and use of the facility. All of this is accomplished with volunteer hours that totaled over 800 hours in 2024. Our profit and loss and balance sheet are also attached to your report. Our operating revenues of $140,000 include 71, and I'm rounding, 71,000 in studio rentals, 16,000 in fundraising income, 12 in special events income, and 40,000 in contributions and support. Operating expenses were 138.9 thousand, including 17.9 in building, facilities, and grounds improvement, 68,000 in payroll expenses, 20,000 in utilities, and 10,000 in fundraising expenses, 22.9 in general operating expenses. The net income was $1,000 for operations. Pavilion designated donations for the pavilion construction were well over 220,000. The costs associated with the pavilion construction were 274. Now you're noticing that 220 came in and 274 went out, and that was because we had about 73,000 in the bank at the start of 2024, which was designated to the pavilion costs, specifically to use for that. The bank balances as of the end of the year were $225,000. We had a total of 1,673 hours of volunteer hours, in a total of 56,000 in-kind dollars of support. That's at the standard 33.49 per hour. Right now, 100% of our studios on both floors are rented. They are paid up to date or are paid in advance. The number of people who visited or attended functions on the grounds or in the building increased to exceed 16,000 in 2024. Some of our local collaborations, local nonprofits, organizations, and services bring their meetings, classes, seminars, and events along with their members and guests to support our facilities. Some of our accomplishments in 2024. The Anacog High School memorabilia exhibit opened in 2023. If you haven't seen it, please come look at it. It's pretty impressive. We have a room dedication campaign in which you can name a room in honor or in memory of anyone that you'd like. It's a fundraiser. The Eastern Shore Disc Golf held its spring golf tournament, and they continue to play almost every day throughout the year. Eastern Shore Car Cruisers held a fall car event on our campus and have selected HOS for one of their fundraising shows, which resulted in a generous donation to FOS. We initiated the first annual Field Day Fiesta, a free family-focused fundraiser featuring outdoor activities. We hosted the CB's bike ride at the school. And if you haven't looked at it, I think it was the last town council minute from the meetings. They had an impact survey, which showed how much that event impacted the businesses in town. The Holiday Artisan Market started in 2018. We had 12 guest vendors, lots of open studios, and had over 275 visitors. Many of these visitors purchased tickets to the Homes Tour and attended the Cokesbury concert while visiting the town. Our second annual Blooms and Brushes garden tour was a great success. We would like to mention names again for their participation and support of the gardens that were shown on the tour. Beth Belote, Sherry and Jean Morgan, Nancy Bateman, Patsy and Greg Feldhausen, and Cindy Holdren. That was a great success, and it was much more attended than the prior year. The board of directors installed 7 new directors in January. The board will start working on our 2026 to 2030 strategic plan. Some of the events coming up: Field Day Fiesta on May 3rd, Blooms and Brushes on May 31st, Love Your Park Day in September, Champagne and Oyster in November. And we're looking forward to, again, collaborating with OBCA for the Ice Cream Social, the Artisans Guild Tour, and among other partnerships. I wanted to thank you all for this time. And as requested by the town council, we were able to get updates for the work that needs to be done to the historic Anacog School. You have copies of these estimates, which were submitted to Mr. Spuck last week. And we really had hoped to see a discussion on tonight's agenda. I don't know what happened. We would like to formally request that this discussion not be delayed any longer. As Mr. Spuck mentioned last time at the town council meeting, it gets harder and harder to get contractors to give yet another estimate as time goes by when no jobs have been awarded. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I think there's been an unintentional error of omission, because you referred to the profit and loss and the strategic plan. Those were in our mailboxes.
Mhm.
They are not in our packet, and they are not in the packet that went out.
I
to the
agree.
town.
Yes.
How do we correct that?
That we can include it in the packet. I mean, it can go on the website.
I would
Or they can look at your website. So what do you,
I would like to request that all of that be included in the minutes of the meeting.
oh, it can certainly do that.
Because it
Yeah,
was-
That's no problem. Yeah.
It was submitted for this meeting for the agenda,
Yeah.
which you should have had
And the-
beforehand,
No, there's no problem.
as well as the quotes.
Yes.
You do have the quotes, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it will go
Well,
into the
let's
packet.
Be in the future. We're not,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
on the agenda tonight. I'm just concerned about the references that you made.
Okay.
And
But you
thank
do
for-
have that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. for
It
your
will be in the
report.
packet, but it won't be available to the public to look at. Correct? How? Yeah, you can put your report on the website. Yeah, I think that would be certainly.
I
And
would
thank-
like the strategic plan on the website.
Yes,
too,
right.
Because it
Yes,
shows
yeah,
our
that's anything you want.
progress.
You tell Matt what you want on the website. We can do
And
that.
Profit and loss.
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
Sure.
yeah.
It is, okay,
Under,
The only thing that's not on there.
okay.
what is that under, Mr. Spuck?
You go to if you go
The
to
meeting packet?
meeting, there are two packets, one packet, which is your big
Okay.
packet, and the second one, which is their full presentation.
All right.
And that's been there since
I
the
didn't know
packet
there.
went out.
Okay, so people can see that. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay.
Does anyone have any other
Any
questions?
Okay,
Thank
All
you
right.
for your time.
thank you. Thank you. Your time, yeah. All right, annual fire department presentation. Chief, are you back there?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me, council members, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Town Manager. Before I get started, if I could, in recognition of some of our fellow first responders that lost their lives this past couple days ago with Virginia Beach Police Department, if I could have just a moment of silence before I begin, please. Thank you. I'd like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to come here tonight and give you an update on what we've been doing over there on 9 Pine Street for the past year, and also recognize some of our outstanding folks and some of our partners that we work with Accomack County Department of Public Safety. Just to point out a few, Austin White, our Assistant Chief of the Fire Department, he's here tonight to help support our cause. Got Chris and Karen Davis, who are also members of our department, and their son Raymond, and a slew of fantastic providers from Accomack County Public Safety here as well, who will be recognized at the end of my presentation. You can go to the next slide, ma'am. There we go. I'm sorry. I just wanted to show you that over the past year, we've gained 13 new members between operational and support members in our fire department. For those that don't know, just so everyone has an idea, it takes close to 6 to 8 months of training before a member who joins can actually be operational and perform at the level that we would expect if you had an emergency to perform at. That's time away from work and family, and I can't stress enough how important that is that folks take that time to do so. As a matter of fact, one of them is actually still in high school, who's here tonight, and has successfully completed one of his courses. Next slide. So we've placed 2 brand new ambulances in service that you may have seen around town. It took us over 2.5 years to get, and we finally have them, replace some aging equipment, and guess what? It's time to look at replacing another one already. So it takes a long time to get equipment, and as I've presented to you before, it's very expensive. It's grown pretty much over 100% in the past 10 years. You also were generous enough as a town to commit to giving us funding last year to help us purchase equipment that's extremely needed on the Eastern Shore. There's nowhere between Virginia Beach and Ocean City, Maryland that has the equipment that we've ordered. You guys gave us that funding that we're given in July. We ordered it in April, and it's supposed to get here next week. So just to tell you how long it takes to get certain things. But this will be next generation state-of-the-art stuff that we've been using to train and try and get folks competent and capable to provide the services to people on the Eastern Shore that is like none other around here. And it's absolutely needed. So we want to thank you all for your continued support with that. You can skip that one as well and go to the next one. So the hydrant one is fine. So I've worked with Mr. Manager here. Keep going. Next slide altogether. To get our software up to better par with hydrant data. So the town has 97 hydrants that are fed from town water throughout Anacog to include the hospital. We've established a software reporting system that we do reports on, and we've actually added the program that allows us to track hydrants, track all of the maintenance and service and so forth that goes along with that. And it makes it a lot easier for us when we go do our ISO inspections, which help lower our homeowners insurance costs. When those inspections come around, that it's already there and it shows that we're using it, maintaining it, and testing them. So the town has access to that. I've shared that with Mr. Spuck, and he is able to assign that to whoever he has with him or do it himself, whatever he'd like to do. But it's available. We did complete this inspection earlier this year, this ISO inspection, and we maintain the same rating. And unfortunately for us, being in the situation that we're in the type of geographical area, we don't have a lot of people running and jumping to come get on a volunteer fire department. We also don't have the funding to pay staff 24/7 to staff our fire departments. So the rating that we are at right now is as good as we can get without having that extra people. Hopefully in the future we can move forward, but we're doing as best we can. We've met with some of the town folks, the town council folks that came to our station when we had some architectural discussions about a building addition to our fire station. Later on in my presentation, you'll see that this type of annex or addition that we need to build, we're way behind the ball when it comes to prevention for worker safety, cancer prevention, and all in all, a better place for the employee. We're out of space. If you drive by, it looks like we're at a junkyard sometimes. We got trucks outside, but future meetings will be occurring to involve you all to try and help us move forward with this program. But it's on the table. So it takes a long time and it costs about $4 million, just so you know. All right. I've got a few folks in here. I'm going to call them up here shortly after my presentation, but I wanted to recognize Raymond Agar, who's in the room, Trevor Turlington, Andy Reyes as well, who are in the room, and Alex Prude, who's not here tonight, for their completion of their Firefighter One program with the Virginia Department of Fire Programs. Several instructors in a volunteer capacity helped teach almost 200 hours of training. And that was conducted on behalf of Park City Fire Department, who were able to organize the event. And those folks all successfully made it through the program. So congratulations to them. I just wanted you all to know we had 4 people successfully go through that as volunteers. Thank you. I mentioned Chris and Karen Davis shortly ago. They were able to implement what we called the Eastern Shore Trauma Symposium this year, which we partnered with multiple agencies on the Eastern Shore, from Chincoteague all the way down to the Bay Bridge Tunnel, and used Riverside Shore Memorial Hospital as one of our sponsoring agencies who housed the program. Over 3 days, we taught over 8 hours of continuing education training that was put on by members who are providers in the area, as well as a few outside folks. I believe it was over 60 people, Chris? Yeah, 60 people that attended. And it's one that I don't know that we've ever hosted like that before. So it was the beginning of something that could be really a great thing. So I want to thank them for what they've done as well with that project. I just put these in here. These are on the minutes as well that the town manager put out, but I wanted you to see some of the response information that we have. On this packet, you'll see how many calls each individual apparatus that we have responded to. And also moving down in the next slides, how many numbers of calls that folks individually responded to. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time that people that are not getting compensated for what they're doing and also risking their lives, not only just responding to the station, riding lights and sirens to a call, and then possibly being involved in something that's very hazardous on the scene for nothing and for no more the cause than to help out their neighbors. And that's really important. I wanted to recognize those folks. On average, we respond to 32 fire incidences a month. When I put this presentation together, we had not calculated all the EMS calls, but I can tell you that there's been over 1,700 ambulance calls that an ANCOG has responded to on the Eastern Shore in 2024. Busiest times of our day for responses was between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. So that, I mean, it varies a lot, but throughout the day, throughout the year, last year, that was our average time that was busy. Some days people don't go anywhere, and sometimes they don't get to come back and eat. Okay. Last year alone, we actually worked 46 working fires anywhere on the Eastern Shore, not just necessarily in our district, but between automatic aid and mutual aid that we responded to. And when I marked on this report here, 175 EMS calls, that's where volunteers responded to. Accomack County Public Safety assists us with staffing our ambulances, and they mainly get our ambulances on the road and transport patients with the assistance of some volunteer members. But this specifically was speaking about volunteer responses. So I put this in here for everyone to understand that the average pay that firefighters in Virginia receive are a little over $54,000. We gave enough hours between our volunteer staff to save nearly $265,000 last year, and that's just from Station 9. That's not including all the other volunteer fire stations. So I wanted to put that in perspective for the amount of volunteers that give to the Eastern Shore, how much money that actually saves taxpayers here. And I wanted you all to know that. As along with our discussions earlier about some of the equipment that you guys assisted us in purchasing, we've been spending a lot of time, and I say a lot of time, understanding that this is a volunteer organization, and we try to include other agencies with us. All the time doesn't mean like every day, but we spend a lot of time trying to make schedules work to get people in the station to participate in training, organize classes, and have folks come in from outside to help get folks up to speed and more in line with what today's technology is when it comes to rescue training. You can go a couple slides ahead there, ma'am, because it was just the officers' positions. So what have we done in 2024 as we've recapped? I could say that our main job in the fire department is to save lives. I think everybody would agree with that. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you're going on a fire truck. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to a fire, but firefighters and EMS providers do that every day when they go help the sick and injured. If I could, Chief Holloway, Medic Green, Captain Bagwell, Wayne, could you come forward, please? I wanted to recognize a couple folks, okay? These guys were on an incident that occurred on November 20th, where there was a middle-aged, we could say young lady, I think she'd appreciate that, a young lady that was suffering from a cardiac event where she was not breathing and did not have a pulse. She unfortunately could not be here tonight because she has to have surgery again. However, her husband, who is Dr. Kellum, wanted me to ensure that it was very vocal and presented to everyone who this was and how important they felt it was to portray the heroic efforts that these folks gave to save their lives, save her life. This patient was resuscitated after cardiac arrest and is back home, loving life enough to where she can trip on the carpet and fall and break her arm and have to go back and have surgery again. But I can't stress enough how important training and being competent in the job and caring for each other and doing the right thing every day when they come to work or when the volunteers show up at the station, because the end all of those incidents result in life saved. So I wanted to thank these guys for being here, and I wanted to make sure that they were recognized for their actions because it is very important. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. All in all, we presented 32 life-saving awards from this past year. There were several instances that occurred, but obviously most of these people are on the call with multiple folks. It takes more than 2 or 3 people to effectively provide care that's what we consider our standard or gold standard. So there's several folks that were involved in different incidents, but 32 people to be recognized for life saves is pretty incredible. I think that's pretty incredible. So thank you all for that. If I could get Trevor and where you at? Trevor, Raymond, come up here. Reyes, come up here for me. These are our young bucks. Come up here and stand up here for me. So Trevor, Raymond, and Andy Reyes, they were all part of our Firefighter One course that successfully were able to be completed, pass their courses, and are moving on to the next step, which will be Firefighter Two program that happens this fall. So I wanted to recognize them and thank them for their hard work and efforts thus far in our fire department. They've done a great job. So thank you all very much. You can go forward to where it says goals. And try and push through this a little bit so I don't get to keep you all waiting. I know there's a lot of really exciting stuff in the future here. There's 3 columns. Those are all the folks that were recognized for life-saving awards. Just they're not all here tonight. Go past that too. Yep. All right. So our goals for 2025. So we've talked a little bit about some of our cancer issues with our fire station. And what I'm going to ask for you all tonight as a council is to consider assisting us in finding a way to fund $35,000 for this year. This money would go towards equipping our station with a gear extractor and a dryer to ensure that our folks are safe and can go home without contaminating their family. There are a lot of different cancers that affect folks that work in public safety, specifically the fire service. Firefighters have a 9% higher risk of being diagnosed with cancer other than the general population. Above that, 40% of the general population will be diagnosed with cancer. So we're already above them by 9%. 66% of firefighters that were dedicated to the International Association of Firefighters Fallen Firefighters Memorial Wall have died from cancer from 2002 to 2023. So 66% of those folks that died in the line of duty died of cancer. In 2023 alone, 72% of the folks that died was from occupational cancer. And these folks that you see that were here that came up as volunteers, they're doing that with no compensation for the help to help the citizens of our community for free, essentially. Female firefighters are being diagnosed with different cancers other than male colleagues, such as bladder cancer, breast cancers, which are half of the cases of cancer, thyroid cancers, which are 3 times higher the risk than any other cancer, cervical cancer being 4 times higher the risk, and ovarian cancer. And those are for our female colleagues. A few years ago, occupational exposure as a firefighter was considered a known carcinogen. Just being in the job is a known carcinogen to cancer for firefighters. So already you go have cancer diagnosis as a firefighter, it's presumed that it's from your job. We still fight in the legislature to find presumptive laws to state that it was that fact. But the data shows that cancer is always related to your job in the firefighting profession. So some of the things that we can do to help us offset those things are to help decon our equipment, wash our gear, ensure that we don't track it inside the building, and make sure we don't take it to our families at home. We provide wipes, we provide decon kits on fire scenes. We provide ways to take your gear off and put it in a bag. But unfortunately, with the cost of things and the amount of time it takes to get new turnout gear, not many folks on the Eastern Shore have a second set of gear to wear. So if I come home from a fire and I'm soaking wet, such as last night, you don't have anything to dress out into in case another fire comes out. So the best thing for us to do is to be able to wash our gear and get it back together as quickly as possible. And that's why I'm asking for your support to help us fund that extractor and dryer. The last thing I'm going to say is I would like the town council to consider for those members who are, I think, probably less than 10, I didn't get the actual number, to consider property tax exemption for town residents who are volunteer firefighters or EMS professionals in the town of Hancock. The county of Accomack already does that with property tax relief. I'm just asking if you would consider doing that for town taxes as well. And with that, I thank you and your for supporting our local firefighters and EMS providers. We work very closely with Accomack Public Safety to provide service to our town, and we want to ensure that we have the most qualified and capable providers anywhere, specifically on the Eastern Shore, to provide what you need at your when you call. Do I have any questions for me? Do you have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am. I knew you had a question. Ms. Mays.
Remember when we went to the facility and we were talking about the fumes from the engines and things that are also dangerous to the firefighters that are stationed there.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there any remedy, immediate remedy, or are you doing anything to immediately remediate that?
So there's a few things that we have in place currently. However, it's not that effective. We do have an exhaust system in our fire station that is supposed to help with that. However, our ceilings, I don't know, they're probably 40, you've seen how tall they are. They're tall. Most of the fumes are at the low level because the exhaust pipes are at the floor. Those fumes are going to travel along the floor and go into the building before it gets up to the ceiling to exhaust. Aside from reconstructing certain things and paying a lot of money right now to put different systems in place, there's no immediate fix for that, other than maybe opening the doors, which often happens. But sometimes when it's very cold outside, it's not always economical, if you will. But yes, usually folks will leave the doors open or they'll drive out because the exhaust system is just not really effective.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if this is a question for you or for Matt. Do we have the full presentation? Because what was included in the packet, as with the school, seems to be an excerpt from what you showed.
Yeah, I gave one, but it was very long. I think you kind of cut it down some, but it was about 50 pages.
Okay.
I've been told I take a lot of time, so I'm trying to cut it down.
Could we get the electronic copy of the full thing? Thank you.
A question, what is the definition of a support member? We have people that are, we have a lot of elderly people in the community, and
Yep.
I saw some names on there that I recognize were not probably riding on your trucks.
So we have a few folks that help with fundraising.
Okay,
We've got a few folks that have engineering backgrounds and are helping us with this building design and also our annex.
okay,
We've got folks that help us get mail, send donations out, or send out our requests for donations,
right.
and just do admin work around the station. I often neglect them because I'm so driven to the operational side. I try not to forget how important that the administrative and support members are. But we could not function without them. I mean, some of us, I'm not going to make fun of Austin back there, but some of us couldn't type a sentence or write a letter without them. So they're very important in our structure, and that's what the support members do.
Yeah.
They just support everything that we can ask them to support without being on the fire truck.
Right, and they're not taking firefighter 1 and firefighter 2. They're not
No,
required
sir.
to do all that training.
No, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Hi. So for the $35,000 appropriation you're asking for, is that in addition to the current allotment that you receive annually?
Yes, ma'am. It
Okay.
is.
Is that the total cost of the extractor and dryer?
It's always quote driven, and when we quoted this last year, it was right around $33,000 for both pieces together. I don't have an exact number currently. After the new year, things change with prices, but we also go through, it's called Sourcewell, but the companies that we use, they get a reduced price because we're contracted through them.
So it's one equipment to.
It's
what you need
two,
to-
actually, it's essentially it's a washer and a dryer, but it's made for firefighting gear. It's called an extractor, so it gets all that nasty stuff out. And then the dryer is specifically made for drying the heavy duty gear.
And you think one would be sufficient to flip you on a rotation, like for one night?
I think so because we could always say we could use more, but number one, we don't have the call volume to where we're always going out. There are other resources that are like at the training center in Melfa. The problem is trying to transport gear to other places takes it out of service. And it is often backlogged. So
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Let's get at the first.
I'm sorry.
Question. I just had something to say.
Yes, sir.
I live directly across the street from the firehouse. So I see you guys in-house. I see how you guys,
Keep it in line.
I see
Serious.
how you guys take care of the kids when they come by to hang out and, you know, how you show them around, what have you. I also work at the hospital overnight. So I'm there and I also see you guys on, you know, on the job when that fire alarm goes off at the hospital at 2:00 in the morning,
Mhm.
3:00 in the morning, and you guys show up. And I just want to say you guys do an excellent job.
Thank you.
I guess I see you guys at home and on the job. And I just think you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'll make sure I pass it along to the troops. 'Cause
And
I
I
appreciate it.
know quite a few of them.
Yep,
over
some of them
there.
were here. Some of them were here.
Okay, anybody else?
Thank you.
I just had a question about the healthcare. You mentioned that the cancer rate is so high and it's job related. If a person is volunteering and they are volunteer firemen, is their healthcare insurance impacted?
I'm not sure how their personal healthcare insurance is impacted. However, we do carry insurance, liability insurance, and they are covered under certain things at the state level. I'm not entirely sure how their personal healthcare is covered with it, but we do carry a insurance for every member that's part of our fire department.
Healthcare insurance, aside from accidental and all of that, but I'm saying specifically healthcare?
No, we don't cover a healthcare insurance. Let me get some more information and get back to you on that because I think Scott would be a better person to answer that question.
Okay,
He's one of our,
because if it could be a deterrent from volunteering.
right. I mean, there are certain things covered under if you have presumption laws. I'm just not sure how that is worded with volunteering and some of those things. Because there is a Virginia Heart Lung bill, but there's things that are it's kind of iffy on certain things. So I'll get back to you. I'll make
Okay.
sure we get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank-
ma'am.
All right, well, thank you very much for a great
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, good job. Good job. Thank you very much. Al. Yeah, I think you get a nice thing on the health insurance because of their occupation.
Well, you can have it, but it's considered pre-existing.
Yeah. Next, public presentation is the Accomack Northampton, our revitalization project is, didn't see you over there. Hey, come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council, Mr. Spuck, Ms. Caton. My name is Eric Lachansky with the Accomack Northampton Planning District Commission. I'm here to give an update on the Northeast Neighborhood Revitalization Project. So some of the efforts that we've been working on in the neighborhood have been rehabilitations of homes. So to date, we've rehabilitated 15 Watson Street, which was an extensive rehabilitation that was we've gutted it down to the studs and we provided a new floor, insulation, all new windows, a new roof, new siding. You name it, it was replaced. One of the things that was sort of lacking to relate to the fire department in a lot of these homes are outdated electrical systems. So what we're seeking to do in the rehabs is to update electrical systems to prevent fires. So as we move down, 15 Watson is complete and the family's back in their home and I'm sure they're happy to have a nice warm home on these cold nights. So we're looking at 30 Boundary right now. 30 Boundary Street or Avenue is recipient of a new roof, new windows, new HVAC and remodel of the kitchen and bathroom. And those efforts are underway at the moment and hoping to have that completed in the next month. We're also doing 5 Spady Lane, which is sort of a similar project to 15 Watson, where it's a whole new facelift to the home. And like I said, it's pretty extensive in the renovations. There they go.
Just because.
So as we look into March, we had a rebid to find some new contractors to expedite the process of rehabilitating these homes. So we've put new bids out to solicit some new contractors. So we're looking at renovating I think it's 4 Cross and 12 Church. And those are not as extensive as the homes I previously talked about. Some other things we've done in the neighborhood are demolitions of derelict structures. Currently, we've done 3, 29 Church, 15 Cross, and 4 Church. We're looking at getting 8 Watson taken down in March, which was, I believe, fire damaged. So that's underway. And as we look into the future, 21 Boundary will be removed as well. One of the things that I don't get to see very often as look down at the update is the luminaries in the neighborhood were updated, and I was able to drive through the neighborhood before this meeting to just see how they're functioning, and it's really brightened up the neighborhood. So that's good to see. We're also in the process of trying to get a sidewalk up Pine Street. That's not included in this update, but we are working with John Solomon Engineering that they've designed the sidewalk, and we had a bid that was due on January 29th. We did not get any bids sent in, so we're gonna have to rebid that, which is not uncommon in revitalization. So hopefully we'll get a bid for that. Any questions? Yes, Ms. Oswald.
Thank you. How long did 15 Watson take from start to finish?
Oh, it was too long. It
I
was
know,
it was
I just
probably
wanted to know
about
how long.
8.5 months. So what happened with that one was it was rather extensive. But we were forced to assess the contract for the contractor, given that he went over his time limits that he agreed upon. So he was assessed at $50 a day of each subsequent day that he was delayed, which we thought would be a motivator. It wasn't really a motivator, but it did get to be completed.
And you said there's another project on the table that is as extensive as that? And are there stop gaps in there to prevent the kind of delay this one had?
So it's a new contractor. We have a different contractor that we've historically worked with for the past, I would say, 25 years, and they are moving at a quicker pace than he's been. I think just the nature of assessing a liquidated damage in a contract for most contractors is very motivating, and that's what has been spurring along a lot of the progress.
Thank you.
Yes.
Questions. So the sidewalk is part of another grant project, correct?
So we have submitted a grant back in June for additional funds for a sidewalk. We haven't heard anything to date, but that it's part of the same.
Oh, so it's just like an add-on to the
It's a-
current project?
To give a brief overview of the project, this grant was written in 2020, and at the time, the cost limits to build or to rehabilitate a home was $25,000, and between 2020 and 2025, a lot has changed. So we're operating on a budget that has been revised substantially to accommodate for the rehabs of the homes. So we're still searching for more funds to make up for the sidewalk differential.
Can we see a copy of the budget and kind of get an idea of how much money has come in, how much has gone out, what percentage is left to be dealt with?
Yeah, we have a meeting tomorrow.
I'll bring the copies. Thank you. Get them in your mailbox.
Yep.
And I have a question. So we've applied for the extension and we have until July
Correct.
and by July, we have to have 5 rehabs and 4 demos done.
Mhm.
Are you confident You will?
Yeah. We have to do it, so let's do it. That's the plan. We have, like I said, a demolition that's scheduled. It was just signed and scheduled in March to be taken down, so that'll be the 4th. And hopefully tomorrow we can come to an agreement on getting under contract for the next 2 rehabilitations to bring us to a total of 5.
And I think it's important, Eric, that people understand how this works, that this is not just a handout, that the homeowners, could you explain that just briefly?
What do you mean by
The
that?
homeowners are under contract to pay for the rehabs, correct?
They're not. They're not. So unfortunately, in the last couple of years, there used to be a repayment that
Yeah.
would be due. And the funder, which is the Department of Housing and Community Development, has ceased to have that requirement. So there is no requirement to pay it back.
When did that happen?
That happened in about 2022.
Because originally in 2020, when we
Correct.
started this process, that was in place.
Yes, and I will say this, I make every effort when I'm in scenarios when this topic comes up to speak about this. And because across the board, we've run a lot of programs at the Planning District Commission under different organizations. And when people pay back into a program, that extends the life of others that need assistance. So it's unfortunate that that has gone away, and I don't see it coming back anytime soon. But there is no repayment to answer the question.
Any other questions? Omar, let's get start down there.
You was talking about the sidewalk on Pine Street. How far, what section of Pine Street are you talking from Market all the way down?
Yes, it's from Market to Church. That's the plan.
And is this on the firehouse side or?
Correct, the fire side.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because I live on.
Yeah.
I don't want to have much of my yard, I was gonna lose.
So it will go up beside the armory
Yes.
Yeah.
up to,
Plenty.
yeah.
Sarah?
As far as the current grant, the list that you've presented, is that the full list of the work?
Mm-mm.
As far as rehabilitation goes,
As far as the grant for the Northeast?
No.
there's a ditch maintenance that we're working in as well. So we're looking at, which has been sort of stalled because we had a partnership agreement with Accomack County, and I think we're still trying to get easements to fulfill that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, well, under rehabs, Eric, you have 5 listed, but there's 10.
There's 10.
Yeah, demos, you have 4 listed, but there's 6.
There's 6,
So
but
there are additional.
But likely for the demolitions, there's one specific home that is so far in delinquent taxes that it's probably not going to be a feasible accomplishment. So we just wouldn't be able to get a demolition permit.
Run that back there. 5 more pop renovations?
Yes.
After these 5, there's another 5.
Mhm.
And that's included in the budget?
Yeah. Well,
Extension.
it's in the
The extension.
extension. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And there's one more rehab. Okay, one more demolition. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Do you have any idea when you'll get a response to the request for the extension?
So the extension went in on November the 1st, and we got a response recently in February, and it did give us until July the 6th. So if we fulfill the requirement of 5 rehabilitations and 4 demolitions, then we'll get a further extension.
One more question. After the houses are demolished, who owns the property and what's the plan for the property after?
So the property is still owned by the owner of the property. It doesn't relinquish rights. So there's a 5-year forgivable lien on the property that states that if you sold the property in that 5-year time period, you'd be liable to pay back the charges that were incurred on that. But if nothing happens in 5 years, it's forgiven, and you could sell the property and there's no lien on it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. Yeah. Yes, that's where he's from right there. Yeah, yeah. T. Lee?
I'm T. Lee Bird. I live at 38 Ames Street. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, County Council, Spuck.
Can you bring the microphone closer?
I'm sorry, please excuse me. I'd like to thank everyone for allowing me a few minutes to speak about our friend Russell Jones. Russell, as you may know, passed on November 24th of 2024 after moving to Willow Grove in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He was 80 years old. Russell was the mayor of Anancock beginning in November of 2011 as an interim position and then elected to two-year terms. During those years, he accomplished many, many things in our town. My relationship with Russell, as far as town council business is concerned, is predominantly his many contributions to the revitalization of the Anancock Marina. Everything that you see down there, from harbor master facility, fuel tanks and sails, floating transient slips, to boat ramps, Russell had a huge hand in bringing to fruition. Years ago, the wharf, as it was called in those days, had a collapsing bathroom, partially rotten bulkhead, and going back further, there was just an earthened boat ramp near Bagwell Bridge, as opposed to what you see now at our beautiful Anancock Marina. If you haven't been down there lately, take a look. But anyway, it's fabulous. We're so proud of it. We've got 17 slips in counting our bulkhead and our fuel. And it's just a wonder to go down in the summer when it's full of boats or they're spread out and people are spending money in this town. They're doing just an amazing job, and everyone has nothing but great things to say. They come across the bay now and work our side, and they just love it because they love going into town. We've got enough restaurants, shops, et cetera, et cetera. Nevertheless, it's a wonderful thing. I'm here tonight to ask council to recognize Russell's many contributions by affixing a plaque dedicated to his memory at our marina. After several emails and calls, it appears that there is support for such a plaque that will be placed around or on the harbor master facility. I'd like to thank council for the guidance, support, and time to allow me to share these words of support for our past mayor, friend to our town, and a mentor to me. I thank you with all my heart for allowing us to pursue this. It means a great deal to our town. And by the way, waterfront council meetings will resume the second Tuesday of March, right here, 5:30. We'd like to see you. We love constructive criticism. So please come by. I think, sir, this requires a vote by council.
Well, I think, yeah, it doesn't, yeah, I think it needs to have a vote to show support. Yeah, doesn't require, but can somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to go ahead and approve that we commission a plaque in honor of Russell Jones to be placed down at our marina.
Does somebody have the wording? Do you want to read that out?
I did not bring it because we're in the process of changing it. I'm looking to
I just want to give
Sarah and Maple. She's got the
That's pretty
latest
simple. Yeah,
rendition.
yeah, this might not be the final, but if you can,
I second the motion.
thank you. Discussion in the meantime?
Okay, I found it. The Harbor Masters facility is dedicated to the memory of Russell A. Jones, Mayor 2012 to 2018. His leadership and foresight made possible the revitalization of the Anancock Marina.
Okay. Good.
That is not the final one. I leave it to you.
Yeah,
But
we can
Maple
work-
and Sarah
I don't
have
think anybody-
helped me
yeah.
substantially with this, and so that can change. It's up to you, but I just want to get it done, please. Thank you, folks,
Yeah, okay.
very, very much.
Okay.
That's the last one, ma'am.
Okay.
I left it vague, so we can probably fill it in.
Yeah, that's fine. We have a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, T. Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Keith.
folks. Appreciate
Thank you.
He's gonna get the bronze or aluminum plaque there.
He's gonna get it.
He's gonna take care of
And
it.
Keely was very instrumental in that
Yeah, yeah.
process too.
Few weeks. I think. Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't take it incredible.
Weren't you doing a proclamation for something?
We were gonna do, yeah, I guess we'll do it in connection when we put it up, yeah. Just kidding, yeah.
Well, don't you,
I think Matt was gonna do a proclamation.
when they have the memorial service, you read the proclamation.
When is the, I thought that already happened.
Already had it.
It's
Yeah, we missed it.
Yeah.
I thought so, yeah. All right, let's see, the next, council discussion is the, grant funds for,
Onancock Main Street.
yeah, right.
Hi, yes. So last month, Onancock Main Street did a presentation to town council. There were three of them, but in the final one was kind of a recap of what we did in 2024. With the end of it being, we were requesting again this year grant matching funds for two of our grants. The first one is the Virginia Tourism Commission grant for the Marketing Leveraging Program. That is a 1-to-1 grant. $20,000 has been allocated previously for us to use, where we then get $20,000 from the state for a total of $40,000 of marketing funds that go back out into the world to bring people into Onancock to visit our fine businesses. And this grant actually is benefit to all businesses in town. It's not specific to a district. The second grant is the Downtown Investment Grant, which is only available to Main Street programs through the Department of Housing and Community Development. We are asking this year that the town allocate $25,000 as the 2-to-1 grant match, which would give us a total of $75,000 to spend back in our district.
Do we have a motion to, so we got the totals here?
I move that we approve the request from Main Street.
Second,
Second.
discussion, anybody?
Yes. I understand the first one that you're asking for, the Virginia Tourism Marketing and Leverage Grant, is a 1-to-1 grant. So the town would pay 20,000 and we would receive 40,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it's basically a tourism grant.
Yes,
Okay. And we've done this before.
yes.
Okay. The second one is the one I'm asking about mostly is the DIG, which I forget what that stands for.
Downtown Investment Grant, we call
Thank
it
you.
the DIG.
Yeah. And it's a 2-to-1. What exactly are you going to do with that?
So we are still planning what we're going to be doing with that. I've reached out to the town manager to see if we can sit down and potentially partner on some projects that are going on already. Main Street could maybe pick up a portion of that through the grant process. One example might be maybe we could look into doing hardscaping at the Queen Street parking lot once it's renovated. There's potential partnerships like that Main Street could come in our district and put these funds back in. We've looked at doing some more placemaking. The murals is part of that placemaking that Main Street has been working on. And we're looking at public art opportunities as well. We've discussed having potential facade updates for our business district. And we're looking at doing it. I know the town had done a facade grant with the ARPA funds, which required a grant match from the businesses themselves. We're looking at doing potentially something that would go to the businesses. You know, we'd have to cap it. We have to come up with a program, but potentially it could come to the businesses without any match coming from their side. It could be help with, window washing, pressure washing, new window treatments, anything that would bring people into the stores and really create more of a vibrant look of our downtown district. And then we're also potentially looking at a program to add more money into the Open for Business program so that we can help keep our current businesses thriving and then help recruit new businesses into the area with these open storefronts. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I had one more question, if you
Oh.
don't mind. When is the second grant due?
That's due April 25th,
And the other one is due March
March
13th.
13th. Yes.
So by April 25th, you have to solidify
Oh, yeah.
what it is you're. going to be
Before
able-
that, absolutely.
Yeah. My concern is approving something that I don't know what's going to be used for.
Understood. I will say that these are the suggestions that are on the table. We're ironing out what we want to do. And obviously part of that conversation is chatting with the town manager to see if there's something we can do. And maybe it might not be this year, it might be next year. This is a grant that you all have graciously given us grant matching funds previous years without any of this information in front of you. So I feel like we're bringing a little bit more to the table this time around to kind of so you see what we're thinking while we're developing how we want to help with economic impact in our district.
Do you think having a employee of Main Street would?
That's coming. Wait for my report.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
How many retailers are on your board?
I have one that we just brought on the board,
Who is that?
Mary Benakanen,
And her business is?
Blarney Stone Pub.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that
Yes.
because I think in the past, some of the programs that you presented were from one side and advertising, marketing, people think you just do and it happens and it doesn't. My particular question was about the success of the credit card that OMS created, which created an extra cost to the retailer, which was why I did not participate.
So we have scaled back on that downtown gift
I
card.
understand you have. I'm just saying that was just one thing
Yeah.
that made me question the need for a retailer involved in the process.
So now, and this is an aside to this grant request, but part of what we're planning on doing and have been working towards is now with this designated office space, we'll be hoping to throw at least quarterly, if not more frequently, business meetings and bringing people and just talking about what are your needs? What are you seeing? What is working? What's not? It may not be something we can directly assist with, but if we can, that's where we want to start with.
So you're seeing yourselves as a paid marketing and advertising agency that gets paid by the town to do what you want to do.
No, none of these dollars go directly to our, to support it for our staff at all.
I'm not saying for your staff. I'm saying an agency that creates these programs and whatnot. But we pay for it.
I'm not sure that I would classify it as such.
I would.
Well, and then that's fine.
Okay.
I think there's a lot more to it than I think that you,
I'm simplifying. I
Yes.
understand.
yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes.
As far as the murals go,
Mhm.
have I guess, asked any of the many local artists that we have here
So in
that can
our,
actually just show some old
Lisa.
Hancock pride within,
I'm gonna let Cindy.
but within our town?
Sure. Cindy's on that committee. She's.
I'm the mural chairperson for
Okay.
Main Street. Yes, we've just sent out new mural requests for the next couple that we want to do in the corridor coming into town. And yes, they do go to the art leagues. They go to individual artists that we think might be interested, and I can forward it to anybody that requests it. There's no due date yet. It's later.
The 12 was speak like, oh, they got somebody from Maryland to come do it. I'm like, well.
We have asked for people to have experience doing murals
It's
and
not,
It's
not,
specialized.
it's not the same
yeah,
thing.
it's a specialty.
That's what I was
It's
just gonna
not
say.
like
Just can't do it.
a small scale, you're.
I mean, well, I just figured, somebody local, to show town pride.
Well, as local as we can get is kind of Eastern Shore. We haven't ever had anybody apply from our small area. In the last round, a gentleman that was mainly in Richmond, but part-time in Cape Charles. We've had several Cape Charles artists apply. Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion on this?
I'd like to just point
Yeah.
out something in response to Maphus's comments. As Lisa said, some of this money can't be accessed without a Main Street organization. So it expands the town's dollars. So rather than seeing it as a drain, to me, it's an investment in allowing us to do more than we could just using our own dollars.
I agree with that. My only concern, like I said, is we're approving $40,000 and we're not sure what. Is it possible that you could come back in March and say, here's what we have?
Solid.
Zap, we approve it, and the deadline's not till April 25th.
For the dig, yes. I would need a
Yes.
decision on the VTC money today.
Okay. I can live with that.
What's the motion? That's not the motion on the floor.
No, that wasn't
You
my
have to
motion.
amend the
Well-
motion.
Well, either that or we're going to go forward with the motion.
Well, let's try the motion and see what happens. Did we get a second? I think Sarah seconded it.
Yes. All in favor of the motion?
I,
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, passes 4-2. All right,
Thank you. And I still will bring that information to you next month, I promise.
All right, animals and fowl. Matt, I think yeah.
Literally.
You want to, give a brief thing about what we think the best plan for this one is? Yeah.
Yeah, we had started looking at this about 5 years ago, and it's an antiquated, to be kind, ordinance. I think the best course of action would be to rewrite it in a way that makes sense given today's world that we live in, and then have it go through a public hearing here.
No, let him finish up. Yeah.
I think
No.
that was it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I didn't know to finish that.
Okay, I'm looking at page 46 specific.
Hold on, let's not get into.
No, but I
Okay.
just want to ask a question here because there was something about an annual license. And where did that come from? And do we have an annual license for chickens?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna overrule you, but we were talking about the specifics of how we're going to handle this first. And let's get that. So what do you want from the council? Do we want to discuss the minutia of this ordinance now, or do we want the people just to send in their comments to you? You're going to redo it and then let their attorney look at it?
Yes.
I want to,
That-
okay.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
is you folks send me your ideas. I'll go through and look at other towns that have, more current ordinances. I'll have the attorney review it, and then we'll go to public hearing.
Yeah.
Did you not redline all this already and
I did,
redact a lot?
well, I did redact a lot, but there's still things in there like, livestock running through the streets. And it's,
I apologize.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you have,
there's a whole rooster thing.
yeah, I'm not sure everybody's had a chance to really read. Let's read through it. And then if you have comments, send them to Matt. We're gonna have to have a public hearing. The attorney's gonna have to look at it. We can have another session. Is there an emergency to get this passed quickly? I mean, or?
No,
Yeah.
it came up because some folks wanted to move into town and they wanted to know the ordinance behind chickens.
Yeah.
And we didn't have one in the old ordinance, so we started writing it. And that's why this is in front of you.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, when would you like our edits and comments to you by?
As soon as you can, I'm hoping that I can have this in public hearing within 90 days.
So by Friday, sound reasonable?
Very reasonable, yeah.
Deliverables. Please. And this is a specific, I know, but it says in one of these ordinances,
page?
it says that 45, it says that upon conviction, this is penalties area, and it's let's see. To order, upon conviction, the court may order the dangerous dog to be disposed of by the town council. I ain't
No,
doing it.
thank you.
I think, please send your comments. Yeah, please send your comments to Matt and yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, okay. And if you have any specific comments.
Could I request a Word copy of this document? It's so much easier to comment and.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing with the merge.
Sure.
okay.
Do you want the draft or do you want the original?
Well, if you send it in Word with the markup, then I can hide
Mark.
the stuff and see what it would come out as. So
Okay.
that would be perfect.
Okay, please.
Matt, oh, sorry. No. Matt, I remember
Yeah.
5 years ago discussing this on council.
Hmm.
Distinctly remember some of my comments and some of my fellow council member comments. And the reason is, the code says a limit of 3 dogs, and I was thinking, oh, I can get one more dog. And I remember the extensive conversation about chickens. Did we not put that into the code at that time?
We didn't change the ordinance at the time.
Why is that? We spent a council meeting on fowl. and disposal of livestock and all this stuff, and now we're back.
It was never voted
Okay.
on.
Let's go to planning commission.
That's what I
No.
was gonna ask.
No,
It's not
it's not
zoning.
part of zoning. We had this discuss, if you want, if the council wants it to go to planning commission, there's no requirement. I talked to our attorney this afternoon. There is no requirement that it has to, it's not part of the zoning ordinance. If you would like the planning commission, it's up to you as council. You can direct them to look at it. It's not required by anything to do that. So if you want to do it, make a motion and we can do that. Okay, that's up to council. I think that my experience as a planning commission is fairly a new body. This might be a little bit over, they don't have a lot of experience with, with this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not, yeah, so I think we're fine keeping it where we are, but that's my opinion. If council, you want to do it, somebody make a motion.
Should work on this ordinance
Okay.
as a group and get it, individually and then
Okay, all right.
filter it.
So no
Okay.
motion forthcoming.
Thank you for that clarification, though. I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah, please get your comments into Matt in a timely manner. I'm assuming if he's not going to get them by the end of the middle of next week, he's going to move on with it and you're going to give us a draft again back. Attorney's going to look at it so we can move forward with this. If you don't get it in, don't come at the meeting a week from now, a month from now and say, I didn't want this changed. I know, yeah, but I think if you get the new things, yeah.
Format, is it possible to go back and forth?
Yes, well, we can change it. So, yeah, but just let's do our homework and not make it take longer. Okay. Planning Commission report. Cindy.
I'm going to confess that I didn't notice I was making this report until right this minute. So this is news to me. I think Casey Greer had some requests that, let me see if I've got a copy of it.
She gave one to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here. We have it here somewhere.
You want it?
Yeah.
Here it is.
I've
I got it.
read it.
Well, it was mostly to me organizational and electing officers. Casey is now the chairperson. Did we elect vice chair? Paul's the vice chair.
We're beginning to discuss bylaws.
And then Casey has a request for a budget line of $3,000 to pay for maps, training and publications. And she further talks about the maps. I think it would be helpful to us to know the date of the existing maps, because my impression was the existing large zoning map was dated 2007.
Yeah, we've gotten, if you go online under resident zoning map, it's a live map every time something changes, parcel changes. And then the company that produces that online map is also going to produce hard copies for planning commission. And once we review it and make sure that we all agree, we'll get a poster size again for the front.
Well, didn't Tom give us some maps last year from the county?
He made a copy of what we had before.
And we're not sure about what that it was updated or not. Yeah.
Well, we know for a fact that it wasn't updated.
Yeah, right. I know
because-
there's several parcels. Yeah.
Right,
Because I've got a great big one at home that he gave me. Yeah. So if we need,
yeah,
we can stick it on the wall. Yeah. All right.
So
That's not a big cost though, really, is it?
no,
Right.
and Christmas is coming, maybe we can replace your.
But
for the planning commission. will
but he
we
gave them
need
to us for
pay-
free, as I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Will we need to pay for it for the planning commission?
Yeah, there's a cost to
But this is a budget line item for next
next year.
Next year. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if we need a map this year, we can spend a few $100 to get a map, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
How about the training that the members have requested? Casey wants to go to the upcoming training. It's like $750 and I would like to go. I can't go to the April session because of a conflict, but I would like to go also.
Is that, yeah, one of the things that, is it online? Okay, because I didn't know that if I needed to factor in travel. I think we've got enough between town council, professional development and administration, professional development to have $1,500.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I can go ahead and register because we're running out of slots for the session that I want to go to. So what do I do?
Get up with Matt and yeah, I think you give them their town, they build a town. I think they do that when I go to the VML meeting. Yeah, they do.
They either build a town or we can use
Yeah.
the town credit
Credit
card.
card.
to
Yeah, get
register.
up with Matt about that. Yeah. Sounds like,
I think these are all
yeah.
I think these are all excellent suggestions. Training is so important and FOIA training too. And I think it would be important for council to have copies of the maps too.
Okay.
Well, there needs to be one right on the wall right here. Yeah, I mean, that's, that big
That would
help.
be a
Yeah.
first step.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm talking,
But
just-
ours aren't accurate. We need to get them accurate because the last thing we want to have is a map that's no good.
Right.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Okay, planning, any more questions about the planning commission? All right. Economic development, Lisa?
We meet again on March 19th at 6 o'clock right here in this room.
So you didn't meet, you haven't had a meeting since then?
No, we're on a quarterly schedule at the moment.
Okay, all right. Any questions for economic development? Not that they met or anything. All right. On Hancock Main Street, you've pretty much
I'm
done
going to play
everything.
the role of Cindy Holdren right now.
Okay.
No, I've turned it over.
She's turned it over to me.
Okay,
So the Onancock Main Street was pleased to welcome 2 new board members in January and February. One is Javon Smith, a lifelong resident of Onancock and passionate about his community development. He's awesome. His experience includes fundraising, volunteering, donating, professional services, and event planning for local nonprofits. And then Mary Benakanen, who is one of the co-owners of the Blarney Stone Pub. She just joined our board this month and she's been supportive of OMS and offered their building for the first mural, even though that's not there. And she has worked with OMS to use funds to refresh the Blarney Stone facade, which is actually that when they covered in the back deck area, that was something that Main Street was able to get them some renderings of when they first started discussing it back in 2022. We're also pleased to announce that we have hired a new program manager and this person will be starting March 3rd. There'll be more information about that coming shortly. We're very excited. OMS again used grant money to support businesses during the shoulder season with the Valentine's season promotion. We were able to purchase the decorated town hearts lights and we also did posters. I thought the lights were particularly super cute this winter season. We developed a web page for the business specials so that we could drive all the promotions that we were doing on the shore and off of the shore to drive people into town. We created a special page for them to visit on our website. We developed and ran ads on 2 radio stations north of Onancock, as well as public radio to the south, WESR and Shore Daily News. Ads in the Eastern Shore Post, Eastern Shore First, Chamber of Commerce email blast, coordinated with ESVA Tourism, social media locally, and across Virginia tied to our ongoing Cozy Up Onancock campaign. And then we were actually quite lucky at the end of January. WBOC came down and actually did a report on our survey results that we presented to town council. Thank you.
any questions for Lisa, Main Street? Okay. All right. Now's the time for public comment. Rosemary? Oh, I'm sorry.
Took her
The
off.
school. I thought you said that.
No, I did.
You did.
But just a question. Cindy had raised the question of having an additional meeting to talk about the details of the bids for the school and
Yeah.
how the town might be able
Yeah, I
to.
was going to bring that up at
Factor
the
that.
mayor's
Yeah.
council
Okay.
comment, but yeah, we just schedule a meeting. We can't
Okay.
decide anything. We'll talk about whether we want to. All right, Rosemary?
Okay, hello, everyone. I'm Rosemary Popero. I live in the town of Onancock. And with respect to an inspection of Onancock School by a qualified engineering firm, I've identified 3 firms in either Virginia Beach or Norfolk, which routinely perform existing physical facility evaluations. That is, they inspect the building envelope, which is the roof, masonry, windows, foundations, etc., and either directly or subcontract the MEP, which is the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing inspections. The evaluation will prioritize the order of the work to be performed and also provide estimates for same. The MEP report can include recommendations recommendations for replacement systems if needed. Best practices would require that the engineering firms create specifications, then blind bid the jobs to contractors. While there is a cost to such an evaluation, that cost can be borne by the town. It's the only prudent way for the council to proceed. I do not believe that anyone on the FOS board or the town council or in town government has the qualifications to make decisions costing hundreds of thousands of dollars without the guidance of unbiased, qualified, licensed professionals. The additional cost for travel time to Anacog, bridge and fuel fees would be built into the engineer's proposals. I will send the names, addresses, phone numbers, and contact information of the engineering firms to council members. With respect to the town's water system over the course of the past year, I and other residents have repeatedly requested the town retain a water engineer to evaluate our system, particularly in light of our town manager's decision to provide water to 450-unit residential and commercial development outside town limits. Now I understand Onancock will provide water to an additional 130 worker units to be built at a location which may or not be within town limits. The town manager said the exact location is still confidential. The town manager has repeatedly said that a water engineer would be a waste of funds, as our water system is in perfect working order. Well, that's not the case. Now, in his words, the water system is in distress, and in his report at this meeting, he will further address water supply issues. We also learned that our water fluoridation system has not functioned for a number of years. That is, our water is not fluoridated, and that it was intentionally not repaired. I still believe a water engineer is essential for assessing our system and what may be required. Rather than spending money on signage, let's focus on essentials. And there may be a very real risk if patients are negatively infected by our inability to supply water to Riverside, the dialysis center, urgent care, and to a Commonwealth. The town, that is us, the taxpayers, would be on the hook for very substantial civil damages. We shouldn't roll the dice on this and think it'll be okay, because our town manager, who has a lot of other work to do and who I believe does not have an engineering background, is telling us that all is fine. And I'm going to request that this go into the town record. Thank you.
Thank you. Thelma? You don't want it? You're okay? Oh, okay, thank you. Priscilla?
Good evening. I'm Priscilla Hart. I live in the town of Onancock. I want to ask the town council to support the fire department's request for $35,000 for their, what did they call it? Extractor and dryer. I think safety of our residents should take priority over everything. They are our EMS. They protect bodies, they protect property. This is most important. It's nice to have signage. It's nice to have all this other stuff. It's nice to have murals. These are the people who are putting their lives on the line, and I'm fully in support of that. So please do that. That would be great. And I'm delighted that you've approved the plaque for Russell Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. Patsy Pelton?
I think I could put my friends here. I just also follow Priscilla. The top priority for our town council should be public safety. And our fire department, I don't know of anyone that could be in this room tonight and not understand how blessed we are to have such a dedicated force. And I would suggest that the town council do everything they can to support this wonderful Onancock Fire and Rescue Department. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Any other comments? Somebody didn't sign up? Okay, thank you. All right. Mayor's report. Couple things. St. Patrick's Day Parade is coming up, I think, before our next meeting, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So we have to, this does the council, if you want to ride, we're going to do your golf cart again? Is it? Yeah. Okay. Please, contact me if you'd like to ride in the golf cart and,
It's gonna be decorated.
yes. Yeah.
Are you doing it, Mavis? You should decorate it.
Cindy, I think did a good job last time. It's her golf cart, so let her. So, yeah, you have to wear kilts or whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway, so that's, huh?
The kilts or the Scots?
Oh, same, yeah, well, they're same. Okay. What do the Irish call it?
So what do they, what do they
What do they
wear?
call it?
That's fighting words.
But what do they, what-
Really?
they call it kilts, don't they?
In Scotland.
What do they call it in Ireland?
Skirt. They don't wear them in Ireland.
I thought they-
Yes,
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, the
They
Irish,
do.
the Irish band wears them.
How many people fit in your golf cart?
Six. Yeah. So, yeah,
We have 7.
I think we can get 7 in there. 3 in the back, probably. I don't know.
I also have other offers, so I'm not super worried about it.
Yeah, we don't, we usually don't get the whole council one. Yeah.
I'd like
okay.
to dress up on.
Yeah, yeah. I think Sarah brought up this thing about moving forward with the school about setting up a time. I'm just talking about, do we want to schedule another work session or meeting? Or it's up to council what they want to do with this. We got some names for another engineering. Did you contact any of those engineering companies that were on our list? Did we send them ARFP?
Yeah, we did. All 2 of them didn't want it because they didn't have the capacity for the workload. And the third is, needed to outsource the architect and couldn't find an architect.
But the same ones, the list that she's given you? That's, you haven't seen that list? No. Okay, that's my question. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, so,
Yes, I'd like to schedule that.
So are we directing that we get an RFP from those that were mentioned tonight?
I mean, I think it would be worth a telephone call to them to see what the options are if they're even interested, but that could be a quick call and we might find out right away that they're, I think it's worth exploring. If I think, I think we need to discuss, going forward with the school to see, what we want to do. So you want to set up a special time. It's up to council needs to decide this.
I would suggest we go ahead and set a meeting that we can then cancel it if Matt gets information that leads us in that direction.
It's certainly not going to hurt if it, yeah.
I'm willing to schedule a earlier meeting if we have that information or have a date when we'll have that information, perhaps then we reschedule.
Well, or, I mean, the situation that we're in now is that the kind of report that has been requested has not been found to be available, even though there are companies identified who do that work. They weren't willing to bid on doing the work.
The 3 that made bids, you're talking.
The 3 that we have worked with previously, I don't know how much overlap, if any, there is between those and the ones that are on the forthcoming list. So when we find that out,
Well, it's difficult to know who read the RFP. you
Right, and
know,
it was fairly complicated RFP,
so-
right? Correct, yeah. We were asking for quite a bit. We might be able to scale this back and get a. yeah.
Well, even if we just ask, if Rosemary has done some research here and found 3 companies that are willing to talk to us, just talk, just ask the question. And then we can go from there. You get a yes or no.
All right, well, let's just set up a time of 2 or 3 weeks from now to give us some time. And then, like we said, if we don't have anything to talk about, we can cancel the meeting.
And this is specific to
The school.
the 2 bids and potentially a response from an engineering
well,
firm.
there's bids for the, help me, the roof,
The
the
windows.
HVAC
Yes.
and windows. Yeah.
Okay, man.
We haven't seen the windows and roof. We've seen the HVAC.
They were attachments that were sent in the last week.
You sent them out, didn't
From
you?
who? Who sent them?
They came from Carrie to Matt
you
to
get-
us, is that right?
No, we didn't get them.
So we have the one from Thornton.
We have the 2 for the HVAC and that's it. I never saw any roof or windows. Is anybody else?
I
No.
You're correct, Joy. That's exactly what you were provided for the 2.
Right. Right.
Okay.
we'll get that out to you in the next, a couple days. We still, Yeah, yeah, okay.
So we're going to discuss the quotes and then potentially a response from an engineering firm and decide what direction we want to go in. And then I'd also like to look at funding options.
Yes, yeah.
Along with, I don't know what that looks like, but I'd like to see a couple different potential models.
Mr. Mayor, and as long as we're gonna get all these quotes and information that, and it's going to be a separate meeting to discuss this, I think we need to have a focus on what is our plan for the future of this building and this property. We have no idea. You're gonna paint the walls and then say 10 years from now, we don't want it. Or we don't know what we're doing with it. We don't know what we're doing with it. And there's no sense in patching and repairing and fixing if you don't know what you're gonna do with it.
40-year
Or in
lease.
shedding.
What do you mean?
We have a lease. We know what we're doing with
At
it.
least that should be voided already. We understand that.
We can't do that. That out of order here. Hold on. Okay, let's just schedule, hold on. We're out of order. Let's schedule the time, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about March 10th? That's 2 weeks from now. It's not St. Patrick's Day.
I
It's halfway
cannot
between-
attend on March 10th.
Can't either.
Okay, that's not gonna work.
Thursdays are our backup days. What's that look like? The 13th of March?
Okay with me.
Days of-
That's
March
the-
13th is a Thursday. That's usually our backup.
That's
meeting
the,
days.
I can't
The
be, I can't
International
be here
Film
for
Center.
that.
Okay. All right. The following week is spring break. I'm trying to not be here.
Tuesday, the 11th.
I can't be here that whole week.
Okay.
Oh. Well, and then you're in the spring break and we're up to the next council meeting.
How about Thursday of next week, the 6th?
I don't think we're gonna have anything in time for that.
No,
Okay.
Well, we've got the bids and we can talk about funding options. What were you going to say?
yes. Yeah,
No,
it's
we
not going to happen by March 6th.
You're gonna have to contact them, if they're available, they're gonna have to work you in to get over here to do. Let's say at least 4 to 6 weeks to get a firm. To get something to you.
And don't you have to advertise a public meeting?
Well, the
You
point
do.
is that they might not be interested in doing it. We could call, if they're not interested in doing it, we're back to square one again, yeah,
So
so.
we also need to think about budget cycle because I think Matt's got some additional meetings that he's probably going to propose here too. So can we take a look at a calendar this week and maybe figure out what's available, what's open?
So far, there hasn't been one date that's been open.
No,
And Gabby's right. I mean, if we're saying what we're gonna talk about, I'm making this up, the roof. And we haven't had the roof analyzed. Why are we talking about the roof? So that's what I'm getting at is we need somebody to tell us what exactly needs to happen to that building. Then prioritize that, then figure out how we're gonna pay for it, then put the model together and say, this is what it looks like. Yay or nay.
Until about 10 minutes ago,
you.
we didn't know that the engineering study might be a thing again. So I was still going off of the assumption that we were discussing the bids. Yeah.
Could you outline that process again, please? That made so much sense to me that we have, first of all,
We have the building analyzed first,
okay,
then we get a list of things that we're gonna need to have done to the building. We prioritize that list,
okay,
and we get quotes for each item on that list, then we start looking at funding options for how we're gonna pay for this, or how this is gonna be paid for.
well, it doesn't seem like we're gonna have, we haven't even get people together before the next meeting. I mean, I think that next week is just too early for anything, unless anybody disagrees with me. So I can't be here. I mean, we can have a meeting without some people here, but,
Just getting all the information together.
yeah.
So my question is, what happens if these three firms don't respond and get something to us? What is our next step? Because I think that's where we were until 10
Yeah,
minutes
that's
ago.
my concern
6
too.
months
We've
ago, we were
gone
there.
around in circles on that.
No, you're out of order. Thank you. Go ahead.
She wants to comment on the inspection.
Yeah.
Well,
Give us a, give us a.
we already know the names of, what,
She had comment that might be relevant.
we don't, okay, go ahead. I've been
You
over.
said you were going to do that, let people speak when it was.
No, at a
necessary.
time, but okay, go ahead if you have something relevant. Yeah.
And I've done this dozens of times. With the engineering firms, you don't have to send out an
RFP.
or talk to them on the phone, it's not have to be with one of the engineering firms, I have to put one of the senior engineers tomorrow at 10 a.m. to talk, and he's already sent the example for the similar building, and it's just, we do this, and this. Same thing, oh, it's going to building envelope, and it's going to be.
Yeah,
So,
No.
uh,
yeah.
so are you talking to them on behalf of the town for the building that the town owns?
I am not representing that I am part of the council. I am not representing that I am part of the council. I am asking if they are healthy. Yes, they do. Yes, they were.
That makes
Yes, they
sense.
were.
That astounds me.
Well, I think that, I think you've, I think you've,
I think you have to respect her
I think you,
experience.
hold on. I think that you've given us the names and I think you're right. We need to make a phone call and find out, they can find out, we don't need to put out an RFP again. We can just talk to these people, see if they're even interested. So let's let our town manager do that, the next.
Procurement policy requires that I send out an RFP for any job over a certain dollar
Well,
value.
I think a phone call to them with, what's the dollar amount? Yeah, that's the question. Yeah.
Correct,
I mean, if they say that, then
5,000.
we have to turn around and do an RFP.
correct.
But I think a telephone call to them, if they're even interested from the town manager representing the town would be a first step.
That's fine.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. And they might just say, they want $100,000 or they're going to say they can't do that kind of thing. So
Right.
let's find out. I think that's a good way to go, but a phone call is not going to hurt anybody. All right. So we're no farther in setting a time here. So we're going to wait for the next council meeting or?
There's no emergency at this point.
Maybe we can start the council meeting a little early. Would that help you?
We can talk, we'd have to advertise that, but let's, the other option, yeah. Okay. All right. All righty. That my mayor's report, which has turned out to be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Town manager's report.
Yeah, this, financially, we're on pace. We're 58% through the year and our net is about 58% plus the additional funds that we're receiving through sewer billing. My report is obviously in writing, so I'm just going to bring up a couple of different points. The design firm that we use for Queen Street are putting perspective drawings together, and those should be ready probably tomorrow. I met with HRSD, a lengthy meeting about the meter replacement. They've got the contractor selected. The lead time on the meters themselves for manufacturing is what we're waiting on. Habitat for Humanity is looking to break ground on that property in early March. So that's, I think, incredibly exciting. The 2026 budget season has started. So what, if you have anything that you want to add to what I'll call the wish list so that I can make sure that it's included in the base budget, please let me know and I'll price it out. If you just say, I want X, I'll price out X and put it into the budget and then we'll balance it. And you guys can make your decision on what we'll do with the mill rate. And then lastly, the blood drive is coming up on Monday. Please, 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 if you can, we've got 15 open slots right now for blood drive. So if you can take the time during the day, please, please, please.
That's coming up this Monday.
This Monday, March 3rd.
You have to register online.
You can register online, but I'm pretty sure they'll take walk-ins too with the number that we've got open.
You can just go to the Red Cross website, or if anybody has the app.
Is that here, Matt?
Yes, right in this room,
Monday, what's the hours?
Monday, 10 to 3. Thank you.
That's it. Any questions about the town manager's report? Let's go.
Yes.
Let's start over.
Oh,
Lisa?
just real quick. Hey, Matt, on
Yeah.
the cash and reserve report. I see you updated the date it's through, but the numbers didn't change from last month. Is this just a quarterly report, or is this, I'm sorry, 63?
63, thank you.
Which line item are you talking about?
All of the numbers actually are the exact same as last month.
Well, this says through January.
That's why I didn't know
Yeah,
if
I'm
that
gonna
was a
have to
quarter.
look at it. I've got to believe that that's just a copy paste thing for me.
No problem. That actually prompted me to say, is it a quarterly report?
No, I know
Okay.
last month I rebalanced at the end of the year, so that I know is last month's numbers.
So you can send us this month then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, is that it, Lisa?
Yes, thank you.
Joy? Any questions for the man?
No, thank you
Cindy?
for all you do.
Thank you.
Mavis? Questions for the town manager?
You don't necessarily have to start with me.
No, yeah, you're the fourth. I've already gone through here. Okay. Sarah?
Questions on. Question on the water repairs and if the Liberty and Hill installation has had its next schedule set.
Yes, Liberty and Hill is scheduled for Wednesday. I'm gonna send out a manager minute tomorrow talking about the detour that you'll have to take.
The day after tomorrow?
Day
is-
after tomorrow. So
Okay.
tomorrow you'll get a manager's minute. Talking about that project. I'm hoping it's 2 days. The only reason it takes so long is VDOT has very specific structural requirements when you work a trench. So
One more?
And then
I'm sorry.
what's the status on the repairs for the water and sewer issues? They all
No.
complete?
no, we've got one on Hartman that's not complete. Our pump broke, so we can't get down we can't get the water out of the hole in order to fix the leak. So that one is still up in the air. And then the other thing that, yeah,
Is there any problem to the people using that section?
I mean, we struck gold with this because there's one house that's having a problem and that person is in Florida for the season. Yeah.
Hartman, we're going down by the ball field. All right, Omar, any questions for the town manager? Okay.
I do, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry. I thought I would put them in at council comments, but
Oh, no,
they're
no.
questions for Matt.
It's good for the town manager's report.
The 2-hour parking, where are we at on that? Or is it 2 or 3?
Three.
It's in the
Three.
minute.
3?
It's
in the
in
report.
here,
Yeah.
the VDOT, it's like the Walmart, and VDOT has required that we get a land use permit. I'm not exactly sure why. The map that I put in here shows where the signs would be placed. The police chief has endorsed that. So at this point, I just have to order the signs and put them up, but I need to get VDOT's permission to place them in the spots that we want to place them.
I'm asking because business owners are asking me.
Yeah.
So
Fair
Yes, me.
when
question.
do you expect this to happen?
I can't speak to how long it'll take to get a land use permit from VDOT, but the one thing I can say is they've been incredibly supportive of us. So I would say the sign itself will probably take 4 weeks to get here. And I would say another 4 weeks to get the land use permit.
Because
That's
they're
a
having
guess.
people park in front of their businesses all day and
I
it's,
know.
yeah.
I know.
Okay, when you had the water test after the Ames Street Bridge
Yeah,
disaster, why was the water not tested in Mount Prospect? Because that's where that would have been affected by. I understand that.
we follow the rules that the Virginia Department of
Yeah.
Health required.
Yeah. But no testing in Mount Prospect where the break occurred.
Correct.
Can you request that in the future if that's how it goes?
We can run a back T test anytime. So if you want us to, we can go to your
To my
house.
house, to anybody's house here? and-
Yeah,
Oh,
it's really
good
not
to
that
know.
problem, that
Okay.
big of a problem. I mean, on a onesie twosie basis, I mean, the lab charges us money for this, so.
Sure. Well,
Uh,
one house in the neighborhood should be.
Right, that's
sufficient.
what I'm saying. That's,
The fire hydrant on King Street was out of
Yep.
order.
yeah, I talked with the chief, you heard him talk about the software that he and I are using to let us know when we've got a hydrant that is either out of service or has some issues. So they've been made aware, we're gonna put that on our probably late spring repair list. That's a really big repair because it's a 9-inch line that goes under the street.
Wow.
Now, we fixed it, so it works, but now we have to tie in the fire hydrant to it, which means we have to shut the water down for it'll be a long time,
Like a day,
all of
2
that.
days. What-
All of that. So that's why I'm saying this is a big repair.
And that's the only one that you know of that needs that?
There's more, there are more, if you remember the incident on Johnson Street, the car hit that
Yeah.
fire hydrant.
Yes.
That's another one. So we've got known two that are out of service. But each truck carries 1,500 linear feet of hose. As long as they know that the hydrant is not active, they can stage properly and everyone is safe. So, and BW is the one who talked through that with
That's
me,
wonderful.
so.
Yeah, that's great.
Follow-up
thank you.
question on that. The cover on the hydrant that Joy pointed out has been removed.
Yes.
So
Should it be?
should the cover be back on it?
The
Talking about
fire
the valve
department
cover
did that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
The
your-
fire department did that.
So it's been repaired?
No, they just took the cap off. The fire department did it. I don't know why they did
So
it.
they know it's not a active,
Yeah,
hydrant. Yeah.
So in essence,
The software allows them to know that it's not.
Yeah, so the-
hydrant.
It's not.
And we only have 2 in town that are like that.
Yeah.
And,
correct.
He just said it's 100 and some fighters in town, so there's plenty of.
right. Okay, thank you.
May I? Matt, a while back, we talked about having a licensed professional on our water engineer, whatever that person
Mhm.
was that, what's his name?
Water engineer.
Yeah.
That Brian was.
Brian
Brian.
Horton.
Okay, what Brian Horton did.
No, I see what you're saying. Okay, the license level
Yes.
working for us.
Yes.
Okay,
And so because we don't have that, we can't put fluoride, and this is a kind of 2-point question, because I understand that information that I've read says fluoride in adults is of no value, as dentists, you can tell me or say yes or nay.
It's a minimal value,
But
but
isn't
there
it
is
a
some,
carcinogen as well?
no, Not classified as at the
Well,
level of
in
water.
California, I think it is.
No,
I'm just,
not gonna
I'm
argue the
just, you know,
science
if
of
it is in one place, it kind of is, right? I'm just asking.
Can I jump in with the
I'm just
fluoride?
asking. I'm just
When,
asking a question.
when we talked with the Department of Health about the level of licensure that we have, the level of, in order for us to put fluoride back into our water, our production system is high enough that it will allow it based on Dean's licensure level. So we're going through the process right now of putting fluoride back in.
Of getting Dean,
Savannah.
I know, but
Right.
him to do it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
overseeing it.
He's
Yes.
our licensee that we operate under right
Okay.
now.
Okay, I understand. I mean, I remember when you asked to get it put in, it was years and years ago.
Mhm.
And it was how many children you saw that had cavities at
No.
a young age. But I just
We'll
wanted to
get it
know
back in.
that it's
Yeah.
dangerous addition as well.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What is the future of our world if something happens to Dean?
There's a company called Virginia Rural Water Authority that hires like retired licensed guys like Brian. And we would work under their license until we found a replacement.
Okay.
So that would be an immediate change.
Okay,
So
so at least we have a
would
backup plan.
Oh, we have a backup.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for the town manager?
I have one, but it's not related to the report.
No, that's fine.
I was interested to see if we could see how much money's been spent over at the Welcome Center. And then how are we gonna turn around and just determine cost analysis on it, cost benefit?
No, I'm not
Once it's
exactly
open.
sure that you can do a cost benefit analysis on a welcome center because you don't know which card people picked up and when they went
That's
to.
not how, I'm referring to how many people are gonna go in and utilize this system or the building itself.
May I
Yeah,
answer something
please.
there?
Yes, please.
What is that man whose name at the Welcome Center that came in and did a tour of our center and what we're planning to do there?
Oh, Robert Sabatini.
Oh, he's
Robert
the,
Sabatino. He's planning to come up and give a report to the council on the benefit of the Welcome Centers and that I guess is one in New.
Yeah,
New
he
Church.
is, he's responsible for one in New Church,
There's
one
two.
down at the
So-
bridge.
He's going to give you those kinds of numbers.
Okay.
but I think your question about what we spent on it is a
That's it. Yeah.
fair answer. We should be getting that number. Yeah,
I
okay.
understand.
Can we,
Could
yeah,
I add something too? I think we should do a visitor count
Oh,
for
we can-
ourselves.
I'm sure we will.
We should know how
Oh,
many
yeah.
people are going in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's no problem. Yeah.
It's not open yet, no.
All right, okay, we any more questions for the town manager?
That was it.
Okay, council comments, Omar?
No.
Sarah?
A question. I've seen stuff in the news about what the legislature has been debating as far as cameras. And I'm curious, I didn't see what the final disposition was, but what impact that may have on what we are doing and what we had planned to do going forward.
Are you talking about speed cameras?
Yeah, it was license plate readers
Oh,
Is this
specifically.
in Virginia?
Yes.
I'm not familiar with it.
There was some question about how long you can keep the data or something like that. There was,
Right.
I don't think those bills, I don't know if they went through. We can find that out. for
Yeah,
you.
they did.
They got through?
Some of it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know there was, we don't have speed enforcement cameras, so we don't, that's not, but you're right. We could find out that for you.
And then also a question of whether there is any information available so far as to the impact to our budget on the changes at the federal level.
Yes, I'm very concerned about that also. Because if I may, I don't want to interrupt. The General Assembly has decided to expand the scope of the special session that's already underway to address the federal workforce and spending cuts that impact the Commonwealth. That's not good news for us.
I think if you look at the financial statements, as far as the income is concerned, you're gonna see that there's very little impact from federal dollars.
You're talking about us.
Us,
Okay.
That's been my response to people who
yeah,
ask me very panicked, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? is,
yeah.
I don't, I mean, I could think of the fire grant, 25,000, the litter grant.
Yeah.
What else? There's very little, right?
Yeah.
Fire comes
Very.
from the state and so
Those
does
are
the litter.
state,
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they get,
State.
Some of those may
get
may
federal
be
funds.
siphoning through from
Yeah,
federal
yeah.
was where I was expecting the biggest impact would be.
Mhm.
And then one other thing is for the budget input, I would like to explore the two things that the fire chief requested.
They're on my list.
Thanks.
Mavis?
The last thing Sarah asked was exactly what I was gonna say. How do we make that $35,000 happen? Because it is imperative that they have that equipment. It's not even a desire, it's imperative. And the other thing I wanted to ask is, how does the town make personal property tax exemption possible for volunteers?
Well, the volunteers already get a waiver on their personal property tax for their primary vehicle.
If they
Is
live,
that just from the county, or do we have, because he was
Not the
saying
license-
specifically on
just the license fee?
residents.
Yeah, it's
the
just the vehicle license fee.
It's just the license fee, sorry.
There's no.
I'm
it's
sorry, I'm
voted
not
on.
hearing you.
I said that they get a credit right now on their license fee, so the $30 or
for their,
$35.
for their car,
yeah,
yeah.
for their car.
What he was asking,
Was a
if I
full
heard
property
correctly, was the
tax.
property tax.
I think
Right.
he was in error about the county giving them property tax
I
relief.
think he said personal property is what
I
I
don't know.
understood.
The county only, well, the county could give personal property.
But not,
but
not
I don't think-
property
Not
tax.
property tax, personal
Not real
property.
estate.
Yeah,
but
I thought, I
personal
didn't know
property.
what he's, yeah, I know, we can look into that, yeah.
Yeah, he's,
Oh, he did,
Yeah.
oh,
he did,
oh, yeah.
yeah, cars and boats and.
And veterans.
But we
yeah.
already do it for our volunteers that live in the town, correct?
No, we don't.
Just the
we don't-
vehicle. license
Just the
tax.
vehicle.
The license,
Oh, not, oh,
That's-
okay.
like. what
Well, that's
was-
something the council would have to take up, yeah.
It's no issue from our standpoint. It would just, as far as.
It would need to be in the town
What you're
code.
saying now is what used to be a sticker, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what's being
Well, the
abated
fire
right
department
now.
used to have, yeah, play, but
Okay.
there are not that many volunteers that live in the town,
No,
really.
they're not.
No.
Maybe
He said
they'll
nine.
inspire.
No,
Maybe it'll be, he's hoping for inspiration.
But
Thank you.
I think to Matt's point, a primary vehicle would be.
Right,
specified
not
as
the
a
whole
boat,
bill.
A boat, trailer.
Two other
Okay,
cars,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
I would do that, I would specify.
Yeah, thank you.
Or up
Yeah.
to a dollar amount or something. along those lines.
Cindy?
I think what we're really talking about is budget requests, and
Yeah.
I kind of liked the form you sent us last year.
Okay.
Could we get that again?
Sure, no
It kind of
problem.
helped me organize my
Yeah.
thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Any
No
other
problem.
Joy comments?
No, I think I've
Lisa?
taken.
No, thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We got 2 hours.
Yeah. By the end of the meeting, all of us have red cheeks. Sometimes I feel like I gotta have shorts on.
Come in early.
Cut her off.